Okay. Got a couple of things to do, which I kind of just forgot to do yesterday. One of them is pretty easy. Another one is a little bit more involved. But we'll get through them. So the easier one is the waypoint spawning for the deer herds when migrating, which is going to be in here somewhere. This is the thing that averages out the herd position. Pretty cool. Why is that not a temporary variable? I think I just wrote this before I knew about temporary variables. So it basically, it adds up the X and Y positions of all of the members of the herd and then divides the total by the size of the herd. Interesting. And then it updates the position based on that. Again, those could just be temporary variables. These could all be temporary variables. Create migration group. Seems needlessly complicated, but I'm sure there's some reason I'm doing it that way. Okay, well, this is the part that I'm actually looking at. So I just want to get rid of this and do waypoint regular ID 60, something like that. That's it. Simple as that. Whereas previously we were spawning the waypoint like anywhere in the map, now we're going to spawn it within 60 units of the averaged position of all of the members of the herd, or the position of this object. And that way we're going to get shorter paths as a result, as they won't be potentially pathing to the other side of the map. Which means they're potentially not going to move around quite as much, but I think that's fine in the name of performance. We could tweak the frequency later or something. group waypoint equals true. That seems like a completely unnecessary flag, but fair enough. And then we have like this cleans up the waypoints. This disbands the migrating deer group once they've all arrived. It all seems needlessly complicated. Why do I do it that way? I have no idea. No idea. I guess sometimes not all of the deer would be available. Nope. Nope. The whole herd needs to be available for migration in order to migrate. I don't know. I'm not sure why. I wanted to keep track of like who's migrating and when they've arrived and stuff. It could be useful because one of the other issues that we have is the fawns struggling to keep up. So we could potentially, they can like check if their mother is migrating, and then we can give them a different movement speed or something so they can keep up more easily. That might not be the perfect solution, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. If group is disbanded early. Disbanded early? I mean, isn't it just if it's disbanded at all? I don't know if it's just if it's disbanded early. Maybe there used to be like a waypoint. Oh, it is. There isn't. Okay. Interesting. We destroy the waypoint when they've all arrived. So it's a strange way of doing it because like this object is like controlling the deer and putting the but it doesn't actually decide. Yeah, it doesn't decide what state. Interesting. I think the reason for that would be basically so that they wait for everybody to arrive before they return to idle. I don't really see why that's such a big deal though, but that is how it works right now. Anyway, okay, so that's the migration code. And the other thing is the hunting parties, the human hunting parties. Oh, also there would be the wolves, of course. Yeah, we should, yeah, they'll need like a little something as well. I basically will need to do this for the humans and the wolves as well to find the average position of all of the members of the hunting party and use that as the center point to base the waypoint spawning off of. But there's no object in that case. Yeah, this one's nice because we have an object to base it off of. Those other ones we don't. And my waypoint spawn functions are set up to spawn waypoints based on an object, like a target instance that you feed into it. You could just pick a random group member, or like the first party member or something. That wouldn't be too bad, because the only times that you spawn waypoints is like when the party has been freshly formed, or when everybody's arrived at the waypoint and you're spawning the next one. So it's kind of unnecessary to do the whole averaging out thing. You could possibly, depending when it gets destroyed, you could possibly also base the position of the next waypoint on the position of the current waypoint. You know, it doesn't look like we can really do that. Unless you just stored the, no, because we need an object, right? Can't just store the coordinates. So if we just did something like this, global hunting waypoint equals waypoint regular ID DS list find value global hunting party 0.id. What have I done wrong with this? Oh, it needs a distance. What was the old? Oh, well, it used to be room wide, so now we need a distance like 60, something like that. Yeah, this still exists the problem with this, that it could potentially just spawn the waypoint right next to them, like 2 feet away. But it's not that bad. All it will do is just they'll reach it and then spawn another one. So I'm not too worried about it right now. The main thing is that we just prevent it from spawning really far away, so they don't have to do any like crazy long paths to try and reach it. And then I can just do exactly the same thing for the wolves, basically. Guessing it's the wolf den that probably does this. Yep. What is it called? Arrived wolves. Hunt. It's just called hunting party again, but it's a local variable, not a global. So waypoint equals. Nope. Waypoint regular ID DS list find value hunting party 0.id 60. So we're just basing it off the first member of the hunting party. Works for me. Alright, that's it. Well, that's it. That didn't take long, did it? Yeah, the tricky thing is that I need to like pivot back into drawing sprites next. Pretty much need to finish drawing the rest of the human sprites. Which is a bit of like you know, obviously a bit of a change of scenery. It's a bit of a shift, so I have to like reconfigure my brain and get back into sprite drawing mode, which generally isn't something I want to do at the end of a long day. I want to be fresh and start off in the morning with the focus on drawing sprites, and that may be tomorrow, depending what the weather's doing. I think it's supposed to rain either tomorrow or Friday. So there'll probably be a lot more game dev towards the end of the week, and hopefully a drum stream this weekend. Looking forward to that. Hopefully my legs will recover in time for a drum stream. Should be fine. I've only been one-wheeling two days this week so far, so it's not like the 7-day combo that I did last week. Which really did a number on my legs. The wolves, I should set their hunger to 0 actually, if we want to test this right away. Otherwise it takes about a week before they actually go hunting for the first time. Probably did at least 20 miles again today. I'm not entirely sure. I decided to go a little bit further along. Well, I went like all the way to the end of my usual trail instead of normally I like get off that trail a bit early and go to this spot by the river, which is just a really nice spot. Decided to go all the way to the end, and had just about enough juice left when I got back to oh, interesting. We got an error here. Yeah, just about enough juice left for a run up and down the prom. But I was limping across the finish line for sure. I was pretty concerned about a nosedive towards the end there. Step 0, line 96. There's an other dot. What is this? Other dot XX. Oh shit! Right. Okay. So they can't be temporary variables. Otherwise, when we reference it from the other object, it doesn't know what it's doing. These can be temporary variables. These ones need to be local variables. That's fine. Migration false. Even this thing has a migration. flag. I don't think we use it anywhere. I don't know why do we even have that? We don't seem to actually set that. It's just some completely redundant variable. Okay. Alright, well we should be good now. Well, it didn't crash. That's a good sign. Let's see. Our hunters appear to be hunting as well. That's nice. I'm a bit scattered. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? Yeah, but it was really good to go back through and update all of the old waypoint spawning code, because not only did I greatly improve that, but it gave me a chance to look back at a lot of really old code and find a lot of stuff that needed changing and updating, stuff that was just like 2 years out of date and had been broken or like missing the whole time. Just because, you know, it just kind of got overlooked. It's easily done in such a massive project. But it's especially good because I don't think I'm going to be able to refactor the creatures, unfortunately. So I really need the creature code to be locked in before I start adding any new creatures to the game, because I'm going to have these 6 major creature archetypes, and all of the new creatures are going to be based on those. So there's going to be a lot of shared code, and it really needs to be solid before I start adding new creatures, because, you know, if I've added all 20 creatures to the game, or however many there's going to be, and then I have to change something in all 20 of them, that's going to be terrible. I would totally try to build everything differently from the ground up if I had like another chance at this, or you know, on the next game. I would be really, I just didn't know what I know now when I started out on all of this stuff. I mean, you just gotta get that experience. And I would be really trying to like think about a way to make everything sort of like, well, I'd be using structs for inheritance purposes, and I'd have like a base object type, and everything would be based off of that, and I'd be trying to make the most sort of universally compatible functions possible, so I can just like plug them in and it just works, and they can be like reused in many different objects. But yeah, they seem to be going pretty good. My frame rate is absolutely horrendous still. Oh. So much for my optimizations. I really don't know what I can do. Oh, check it out. Oh yeah, these wolves are hunting. That's cool. Are they actually working though? Oh my god, don't tell me they're broken. No, I can't actually tell what they're doing. No, they're definitely broken. Fuck. What's wrong with the wolves now? Where's the other pack of wolves in this map? This one. They're broken as well. Shit. How have I broken the wolves? We were doing so well. Seems they're failing to harvest. For some reason. I don't really have much information about what's going on right now. Gonna need to debug this. Clearly they successfully killed this deer, but the fact that it's still there and they're just sitting there means they have not harvested it. And I guess they haven't even... I don't think any of them have even eaten any of it. Because they're just staying there. What's this one doing? This is crazy. Thought this was all working. I mean, it was working. What have I done? Oh, Jesus Christ, what are all these? Oof. To disable those. Debug messages. Okay, that's probably a good idea. Kill. See if they've got a kill assigned. See if they're actually getting the food in their inventory. What the fuck is this? Yeah. Two of them on the same line. Maybe draw a little line to their target or something. See what they're targeting. Yeah, I'm hoping there was a bit of lag when I quit back to the to this window. I think it's just because I was printing so many debug messages and it hadn't caught up yet. Hopefully we're not like... I mean... No, can't see that being the case. They did like ranged damage there as well. They're stuck in traveling to kill. One of them left again. Even though they didn't seem to get any food in their inventory either. I should have enabled the hunger meter as well. That would be useful. They're getting stuck traveling to kill. At least they are trying to travel to kill. Guess they do have a kill assigned. A weird one. Yeah, this takes me back to like the infamous pathing bug that we had for like 6 months, which really jeopardized the project. It was similar to this. Not exactly the same though. Because this time they seem to be stopping early as well. Whereas previously they would have all walked over to the kill and then they would have got stuck there. They would have been unable to unable to harvest it for some reason. Yeah, that was very weird. So, yes, as we can see though, the paths are a lot shorter. They're spawning absolutely fucking useless. God damn it. Don't know where the other pack of wolves is. They're also being idiots. Might need to I don't know, maybe 60 is not far enough, really. I mean, what the fuck is going on? Be fine if they just go in the right fucking direction. Oh my god, yeah, sometimes the AI is really frustrating because they're so stupid. Get the fuck out of there, man. Oh my god. Here we go. Okay, these guys, they got one. But I missed it though, because last time it looked like one of them actually went back. Yeah, 60 might not be far enough. This ring is 30, so imagine twice that is 60. I might need to go for like 120 or something actually for these. Now they're attacking the humans. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Hunting. You can do it. Yes. You scared them away. Oh. What's wrong with this one right here? Why aren't you going after this one? Yeah, definitely got to increase that to like 120 or something. Of course, we get the most useless fucking wolves for our test. I mean, I don't know how much it would help, to be honest with you. Just because you can spawn the waypoint further away, doesn't mean they're gonna spawn it in the right place. Okay, there's one pack of wolves. There's the other one. Let's watch these ones. The deer are literally right on top of them, so they can't go too far wrong. They're all traveling to kill. They all have a kill assigned. Something is preventing them from harvesting it. Traveling to kill is the first portion of harvesting, right? If we look at Traveling to kill. Yep. So they targeted it, they successfully pathed to it. At least they did this time. And then they get into this state here. Once they reach, so the concerning thing is, like, maybe they're not actually reaching path position 1, which is preventing them from performing their action. That would be another useful thing to enable. So we could see what path position they're at. I imagine they probably are at path position 1, but something's still bugged. It's very reminiscent of the bug that we had last time, and I was never able to fix it because I was never able to explain what was going on, but I found like a workaround. Where I updated this basically so that, where is it? Right, if you generate a path with a length of 0, then it just doesn't generate a path. So for some reason, they would get stuck in an infinite loop of like generating more and more paths. I don't know why. But because they were already at their destination, the path would have a length of 0. And they were just stuck in an infinite loop like that. So I would just say in the pathing script, basically after attempting to generate a path, if you've failed to generate one, basically, then just set path position to 1 anyway. Because if the path had a length of 0, you're already there, right? So that worked. That actually worked at the time, but now it's happening again. Or something very similar is going on. And that would be the only thing, really. They definitely don't have food in their inventory. We know their target exists. So it's got to be this. None of this stuff is happening. It's got to be this. They mustn't be at path position 1 for some reason. Doesn't make any sense. Target relocation, but the target's not moving. Is it tomorrow? Thursday, right. This week's going like super slowly for me for some reason. I thought it was like Friday on Monday. Which was really weird. And now it's like the week is just going so slowly. Alright, let's keep an eye on these guys. They got one. They honed in on one. Oh, they spooked it, I think. Something spooked it. Here we go, they're pouncing. That one's still stalking for some reason. Yeah, they're at path position 0. Oh, that one actually managed to see. This is weird, where it's like one of them works, but all the rest are broken. It would also be useful to have an indication of who's in the hunting party as well. I know that only the ones that are hunting should be in the hunting party, but something weird seems to be going on, like that might have just been that they were out of range. Actually, there might be a ranged component on that, but yeah, they're at path position 0 somehow, so they can't perform their action, even though, well, this one on the left here is questionable, but these ones definitely made it to the end of their path. Oh, this is fucking annoying, dude. I can't believe this bug has come back. I didn't do anything. I mean, I did stuff, but not anything that I would have thought would have affected the wolves. Oh, they're fleeing. They're fleeing from something. The bear. That'll break them out of it. Sure, but see, they're going back. Will it work this time around? They might just get spooked by the bear again. It might actually work this time. Yeah, they're all at PP1, so... Yep. Just explain that. It's just fucking GameMaker, isn't it? You'd have... I mean, the only thing that could possibly cause them to generate a new path would be the target relocation script. But their target wasn't relocated, so that shouldn't be happening. I think I remember, you know, I remember debugging this whole thing the first time around and putting like a debug message in here to see if this was happening. But it wasn't. Unless we like didn't. No, that would just... Yeah, that wouldn't explain it if we didn't set their target pos X and Y correctly the first time. All that would mean is that this script would get triggered and then it would be set. It would like basically immediately self-correct. Oh my god. It's really fucking annoying because it's just some GameMaker bug. Pretty sure. I mean, every time I say that, 9 out of 10 times when I say it's GameMaker, it's me. I'm the problem. But in this case, last time for real, it was GameMaker. It was GameMaker, and I couldn't even figure out what was going on. I just had to find a workaround. But now it's back, and my workaround is not working around. Fucking thing sucks. see that? It's like they were at PP1, but then it went to 0. Something reset their path position. What the fuck? Oh, the only thing I can think that would be doing something like that would be like the chain pulling stuff. But that shouldn't be triggering. It's triggering me right now. Because it calls SC pathing and it would be in there. Path position 0. But that's only for stalking and pouncing, right? That's kind of what we would expect. Is there a range check on that? No. But it happens well after that, like... They're all in the harvesting state by the time it happens. And we would see this get updated if any of this got triggered, basically. But we see this. So none of this is triggering because that would put them back to idle. Okay, let's just put a debug message in target relocation, even though I'm sure that's not what it is. It's the only thing that could reset path position to 0 without them leaving their current state. Kill them all. fuck are these guys doing? These ones are just totally bugged out. Target relocation. This poor guy. He's wounded. He can't keep up. That is a bit of an issue actually, because he slows down the rest of them. I think I might need a state check in there as well. So we... Possible that the wounded creatures should not hunt or something, because they're going to slow down the rest of them. But it does mean they would probably just die of starvation eventually anyway, but... You know, nature is pretty brutal. Nature is metal. I didn't really think about that when I implemented it. I was pretty chuffed with it overall. Like, it's kind of cool that wounded creatures move more slowly, but didn't realize it would have that effect. So stupid. What? They just changed their mind? That was weird. They had a target, but then they changed their mind. Okay, they're definitely at PP1. But then something resets them. Target relocation script was not called, so it wasn't that. This is fucking annoying, dude. Something just resetting. This is exactly the same bug as before. Kind of. Well, is it? Is it though? Because if it was exactly the same bug as before, my current workaround should be fine. Maybe path index is not -1. Maybe it is doing the same thing, but it's different this time. We would need like an additional check there that's like path length, path index. Something like that. I don't know. You know, if it's like... Because previously, if you generate a path with a length of 0, it just doesn't generate because it doesn't exist. Basically, something with a length of 0 doesn't exist, really, does it? But the thing is, the thing I was never able to explain and still can't explain is why is it generating a new path in the first place? Which is presumably what it's doing. Although the thing that resets path position to 0 is not actually in here, it's in here, and then we call this. But yeah, you can see the confusion. Like, they're in this state, they're pathing over to the kill, they get to path position 1, and then instead of doing any of this stuff, path position just resets to 0. Explain that one. So that's I was never able to actually fix that. So fucking annoying, dude. Could be something to do with something in here, maybe. Maybe they counted as being arrived. Yeah, because this could be resetting them to idle, and that would reset their path position to 0, but without updating the state name. So it could explain what we're seeing. Then the question is, why would this be triggering? How do they even get on the arrived wolves list? Good question. So if they're hunting, if they're hunting and they reach path position 1, basically. Also, if they're stalking, what the fuck is going on? What is this? So if they're stalking, that counts as being arrived. Ooh, we may be onto something. Pouncing will add them to arrived wolves. And then, fuck is harvesting. Harvesting. Ooh, this might be it. Hungry wolves hunting party. I think we need to remove them from the arrived wolves list when they enter the harvesting state. You know? I think that might be what it is. And do we have a backup to like destroy the waypoint? We need to make sure the waypoint still gets cleaned up. Let me just a couple of things I need to do. Target relocation, get rid of this fucking debug message. path. Get rid of this bullshit. Whew. Yeah, this might explain it actually. Oh, I want to be in the wolf condition script here, harvesting. And then, like, I would normally put it right here or something. If ds list find index pack dot, is it pack dot arrived wolves? I think so. ID does not equal -1. ds list delete pack dot arrived wolves. I think that's probably what was going on. Maybe. Does this stuff run on a tick? No. No, so it doesn't. I'm still pretty confused, but maybe that had something to do with it. And then do we have like a clean up waypoints, ds list empty hunting party as the first thing on there. So if the hunting party is empty, that's another reason to destroy the waypoint. So it's going to get cleaned up. This seems like the most likely culprit, but at the same time I'm not quite sure because I just don't really know why it triggers when it does, to be honest with you. Where the oh, they're running away from the bear. Fuck. Ruined our test. God damn it. Booyah. Something's still fucked. Oh my god. I can't handle this right now, dude. It's too much. Alright, well that solves that. What the fuck happened with the other one? It's going after the humans. And it did get the kill assigned though. Does that say attacking near? Oh, I thought it said attacking tent. I was like, there are no tents. How are you attacking one? Okay, so that's excellent. Excellent. Figured that out. But there does seem to be some bullshit with the like the chain state swapping, which yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Seemed kind of jank. Like, they basically have a thing where it's like if one of them pounces, then all of the other ones will be made to pounce as well, or to enter the pouncing state. But somehow one of them, like, kind of broke away, wound up wandering off on its own. Probably they got shifted into that state, but were like too far away from the thing they were supposed to be pouncing, so they actually got kicked back to idle because they were classed as being out of range. Something like that. That's definitely a problem. Isn't it funny how it's like impossible to make accurate loading bars? I had no idea. You're basically just guessing. Well, yeah, pretty much. You just have to estimate how long you think each thing is going to take and then increment the bar. But if it ever changes, and one thing just happens to happen more quickly, then the bar isn't accurate. See, that was weird. Like, we fixed the main problem, which is great. That's really good. Because that's like, that was game breaking. But we've got some jank going on here with the chain pulling. Not really working. for some reason. See, because one of them started pouncing there and the rest of them didn't do anything. It's weird. Basically, we loop through the hunting party and we're like, what are we saying here? If they have a target and their what target does not equal themselves. Okay, well, it's not making a lot of sense, is it? No, this is saying if it's not me, right? I don't want to do this to myself. And they're targeting a waypoint. Or they're not targeting anything. And they're not me. Yeah, that's it. That is it. We just loop through the... And then with hunting party, I'm noticing that I is a local variable instead of a temporary variable here. But it shouldn't really be an issue. And then we should... Yeah, we didn't even see the state name change. But we should update to pouncing. Change the speed and blah blah blah. Target, action timer, run the pathing stuff. Shows everything we need. And put them in the pouncing state. Interesting. If instance exists, DS list find index. Instance exists pack and I am in the hunting party. We take the size of the hunting party. We loop through everything in the hunting party. We check that it's... Well, first we check that the target exists. Well, that's insane, because one of the things we're saying here is that they don't have a target, so... Figure that one out. Why do we... Oh no, because that's part of... that's fine, actually, because the OR breaks it off, so that just applies to the first bit. Yeah, so if they have a target, they're not me. They're targeting a waypoint, or they're not targeting anything and they're not me. Then there's a lot of cases like this. Right now we just need to get this working, but there's a lot of cases like this where I do DS list find value several times over instead of just doing it once and storing it in a temporary variable. Would make like something like current wolf, the current wolf that we're looking at in the party. That would make a lot more sense than doing it repeatedly. It's slow. DS list find value pack hunting party I. Stalking ranged target other dot target. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working actually. Seems impossible that they wouldn't have a target, so I don't know why we're even bothering doing this. They would always be targeting either a waypoint or possibly... I mean, that's basically at a waypoint. They could potentially, I guess, in extremely rare circumstances, it might be possible for them to be targeting a different creature. So I'm hunting away. You know, oh, I spot something, I return to idle, I go through all of the stuff, I see that I should be stalking, I target it, and then if I'm in a hunting party, I'm gonna go through the whole party, and anybody who is not me, who either is targeting a waypoint or has no target, I'm gonna switch them into the stalking state, do all the pathing stuff, and then I'm gonna switch into the stalking state myself. Same for pouncing. I can't really explain it. Don't know what's wrong with it. Did the party get disbanded early? Seems unlikely. I did enable some readout that tells us if they're partied or not, right? I think so. Should be there. Yes, there's like, hopefully if I can get this fixed, there's like a billion different places I should go through and make sure that I'm not repeatedly doing DS list find and just do it once and store it in a variable. There's probably other things like similar lookups that I'm doing repeatedly instead of just once. Well, that doesn't help. Party size of 1. Also, why are they like ignoring this deer that's right next to them? That's fucked. Why did that deer not run away? Another good question. So the stalking thing worked. Oh, why did they all just stop? It's the pouncing one that doesn't work. The stalking thing seems to work. There's a bunch of jank. going on right now. It's like this one seems to work okay. This one does not. What's the difference? Pretty sure there is no difference. Action timer? What? What's the action timer got to do with anything? That is weird. That is very weird. Timer 1. I'm setting that so they land their first hit immediately. Yeah, don't know what's going on. It's weird also that like sometimes they're in the stalking state and then they like just stop and start wandering off to another waypoint. Because of this bullshit. Returning them to idle. Yeah. Because they count as being arrived when they enter those, or when they're in those states. We have some shit that needs optimizing as well, because you should only add them once before entering the state, and then we don't have to repeatedly check, as long as they're in the state, whether we should be adding them to some list or something. That's not a very good way of doing it. This is terrible. Anyway, but what it means is that when they're stalking, they do count as being arrived and engaged, if that means anything. Same with pouncing. Engaged, so the engaged wolves list has to be empty. Well, I guess the engaged wolves list shouldn't be empty, so that would be the thing that I was kind of using to prevent this from triggering when we don't want it to, but it's not working for some reason. So I guess the engaged wolves list is empty somehow, but how? I can't explain how that's happening. I don't even know how they get off this list. Like, ever. uh... Oh shit. Oh no, that's Wolf Den. Oh, here we go. Oh, right, when they return to idle. Which they will do in between, yeah. So it kind of makes sense, I guess. This is a big mess. So we got like the first wolf goes from stalking into idle, removes himself from this list, then starts pouncing, re-adds themselves to this list. You know, chain pulls everyone else who presumably was already stalking, so they'd already be on the list, but they skip idle, so they never get removed. They just go straight to pouncing. So it's hard for me to, it's still hard for me to grasp, like, how this list is winding up empty when they're all, like, stalking. It would have to be this, but to trigger this, it requires the list to be empty in the first place. Oh, this is fucking insane, dude. Because this, you know, loops through the whole hunting party and returns them all to idle, which means that they would all get removed from the engaged wolves list. But that list needs to be empty in the first place to do this, but it's the only thing that could really explain it. As far as I can see, anyway. Oh. Well, oh shit. Well, no, that shouldn't be an issue because they wouldn't be targeting the waypoint anymore at that point. Can't explain that one. Shit. At least we fixed the really bad bit, but I'm not happy with the level of jank with the wolf code here. Yeah, I think I know the solution to this actually. And it basically is the fact that we're doing this inside of the, not this, it's that we're doing this inside of the state, which means that they just get re-added to this list whenever they're not on it, as long as they're in this state, right? And the solution is what we should be doing anyway for efficiency. It's just to only add them to that list when you like first enter it, essentially. Something like that, and do it for state pounce as well. That basically solves the problem. Because the problem is that... What is the problem? I can't explain it to you right now. Maybe I can explain it in a second. So the wolves are all hunting, right? They're all hunting, they're going around. If they all arrive at the waypoints, right, then they've all arrived. So we need to destroy the existing waypoint, and which is slightly concerning that we're not doing that. That would be the first thing that we're supposed to do. What did the old version of this look like? Was there a destroy waypoint at the beginning that I accidentally deleted? I wouldn't have thought so. No, there was not. Okay, so it kind of probably depends on it working this way for some strange reason that I'm not quite getting right now, but so all of the wolves arrive, so we need to spawn a waypoint, and we set them all back to idle, and we clear the arrived wolves list, and then they continue hunting, and then one of them spots their prey and enters the stalking state and switches all of the other party members into the stalking state as well, at which time they get added to the arrived wolves list. But they also get added to the engaged wolves list, which needs to be empty in order to do this stuff. So we can no longer do this, so instead we do this, and we destroy the existing waypoint. Right, and they are now, but what would happen before is that, actually no, I have no idea. No, it's not what I was thinking, is it? When this returns them to idle, that's when they get removed from engaged wolves, though. No, I still don't. I could have sworn I was onto something, but now I can't see it. No, it's probably still bugged. It's probably still bugged. Damn it. Fuck. They're probably going to get attacked by this bear, which is just going to disrupt them. Holy shit. This bear is not fucking around. I thought it was supposed to stop chasing them if they run away. Maybe it's messed up. It doesn't seem to have anything like that. Why not? That's just because that's how the creatures work, isn't it? Yeah, that is how the creatures work. Otherwise, it's weird when they attack the humans and then they just, like, stop attacking when the humans run away. Okay. That's kind of a necessary behavior. Unless that's a behavior that we actually want. I'm not sure. I kind of need to think about it. I'm sure I tried it. It was a long time ago, and then decided that this is how it should be. And now it's been so long that I've like forgotten. Because that's how it works with the humans. The humans like can scare away the animals, and they'll stop chasing them. You know, they don't necessarily want to kill them. They just really want to scare them away. And it would kind of make sense for the animals to be the same. The animals attack the hunters, right? And the hunters decide to try and defend themselves. The animals will continue attacking until, like, I don't know, the hunters get weakened enough. A couple of them get picked off, and then the rest of them decide to flee, and then the animals will stop chasing. They'll be like, oh, that's good enough, you know. We don't need to go after the rest of them. They're running away now. But then if the animals attacked a guard, now guards, they will always defend themselves. They don't have any sort of threat assessment or self-preservation. They'll just fight to the death. So the animals would continue to engage the guards no matter what, because the guards will never flee. And then there's like regular humans who will always flee because they have no means of defending themselves, and the animals would just be like, okay, whatever, we'll leave them. They're running away. They're no threat. It kind of makes sense, in a way, but also maybe not. Maybe it's like cats or something. Like when they see movement, they just have to pounce. You know, there's also that. Where it's like if you run, they're more likely to continue chasing or something. Yeah, it's one of those things. We're just gonna leave it for now because that's not even what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, these guys seem to be working for the most part, but there's definitely some jank, and I just need to keep testing it, I think. I would really like this to be jank free. It's kind of crazy that it's been busted for so long. You know, I haven't really touched animal code in a long, long time. Over a year, at least. And it's been broken the whole time, pretty much. Although, it wasn't this broken, I don't think, because I would have noticed. I would have noticed something, surely. Although, then again, like, my playlists? My playtests don't generally last long enough for me to see the wolves hunting. And even if they do hunt, I might not notice that. I might not be paying attention to them. But I think because we're just looking at it. But you would have thought, because they were getting, like, stuck, you know? They were getting stuck. You would probably spot that eventually. Just like a bunch of wolves that are just stuck there doing nothing. Although I suppose that's not a very good test when the thing is so close to them that they don't really spend any reasonable amount of time hunting. We actually kind of need a test where they do. I'm glad that it's working at least. I'm glad, because the really bad thing was that they were like totally getting stuck. They were like soft locked. Maybe even more than soft locked. Maybe hard locked. They were definitely stuck. Eventually they would have just starved to death or something, I think. They were so stuck. Assuming that's even enabled for the animals, I don't know if I ever got around to like making it so that they actually starve and stuff. You know. That's all in for the humans now. You know, they'll die of starvation, thirst. There's still no penalty for not sleeping. Yeah, they can go without sleep forever, basically. There's no downside to that. Some sort of fatigue mechanic or something would make sense. Eventually, you're going to die if you stay awake forever. I feel like I've been pretty close to myself. Been pretty close to that myself at points. Oh man, yeah, I remember actually one sleepover as a kid. Went to my friend Matt's house, and we played like Sega Mega Drive for 3 days straight or something, and I didn't sleep for 3 days, and I was so sleep deprived by the end. I remember I was like waiting for my parents to come and pick me up, and I was like passing out on the floor. I kept like losing consciousness and going into these crazy dreams. I remember I was like, I started like crying because I didn't know what was going on. I was like losing touch with reality. I would just be like, I'd just suddenly like appear in another dimension. I'm like on another planet, stood in a field, and there's like a portal over there or something. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I wake up and I'm like back in a living room, and then I pass out again and I'm somewhere else, and I didn't know what was happening. It was pretty scary. That's what sleep deprivation will do to you. I guess that's why people go insane when they do like go on like a crack binge and don't sleep for a week. They start losing their minds. I did that. I don't even need crack, dude. Give me a Sega Mega Drive. I'll fuck myself up, son. Yeah, I don't know. I was all kinds of fucked up when I was a kid. It was just kind of like just from growing up in a not great situation. Weird as well, because it's like it's one of those things where, you know, I grew up in like a middle class family. Everything looks normal from the outside, right? It's not like I grew up in abject poverty. You know, from the outside kind of looked like a normal existence, but from the inside it was very dysfunctional. And that led to me doing all kinds of weird shit, like not sleeping for extended periods of time. But that's one of the things, like, I mean, it's all just about, what do they say, keeping up appearances. It's all just a facade. Just, you know, it's all about maintaining the illusion of being like a, what would you call it, like, of being put together or whatever, or like that you have this great life or whatever, when behind the scenes you're like completely mentally ill and out of touch with reality. But oh, it's all smiles and everything's fine. We're fine. Yeah, it's strange. It's very hard for people to like, I mean, obviously, like, people spend their entire lives running away from it because it's too difficult to admit that they have a problem or that they need help, because people can't be like vulnerable or whatever, which is very sad because it means that they've grown up in an environment where they weren't able to be vulnerable. And they kind of get stuck like that. And then they come to believe that it's weakness or something, or or they're too ashamed, or. But yeah, I mean, it's understandable in a way, because just having to deal with that reality that you're not well. Yeah, that's tough. People run away from that forever. They'd rather die than confront that. And I mean, you get the full-on copium, like the strongest form of copium. You could call it copanil. That's a term I came up with recently. The strongest form of copium is like when you actually glorify mental illness, like, rather than actually realizing that you're a sociopath or something. Instead, you say, like, I'm a real man. No, I'm not. I'm not insane. I'm actually a real man. And real men don't cry. And real men are tough and emotionless. And real men do whatever it takes to get what they want. And they don't give a fuck about anybody because we're real men. That's like the ultimate form of copium. Because the alternative of having to admit that you're completely insane is too difficult. Yeah. But society is built on normalized mental illness. What do they say? Being well adjusted to a sick society is no measure of health. It's kind of funny, actually. I've been thinking about it a bit recently, because, like, I got really lucky in a way that I had, like, role models and stuff growing up. Thanks to the internet, I was able to find, people like Terence McKenna, Alan Watts, and I had, like, good role models because I was able to listen to those people. But it's a double-edged sword. It did help me, obviously, in a way, but also it just kind of alienates you, because, like, I don't really fit in with most people, precisely because I had role models, like good role models and things. Which is kind of funny, right? Because people generally don't address that, right? They say things like, "Oh, these kids need role models and father figures, and they need that." But then when you get that, it just actually completely alienates you from the vast majority of society who never had those things, and who are, like, engaged in some strange dysfunctional culture of, like, toxicity and abuse. And if you don't participate in that, you just sort of naturally become an outcast. But it's like Terence said, don't be afraid to go it alone. It's really important. It's really important. Like, people are constantly going to be trying to, like, drag you into that shit. Drag you down with them or whatever. And that's the thing. It's like, you can't be afraid to go it alone. Because you don't want any part of that shit, I can assure you. Something else I've thought about recently, it's funny, like, we used to, like, there used to be this idea that, like, guys who pay for sex are, like, the biggest losers, right? And now that's become the norm. That's, like, the mainstream culture is, like, only the alpha males, the high value males are the only ones, and it's all about money and power, and they're the only ones who will get the women. And it's like, obviously that's just like a subsect of insane people, but that's like, it's become so widespread, so prolific, so normalized. That's like the mainstream culture, which you don't want anything to do with. You want to avoid like the plague. Is this sort of, it's all about dominance and power, and these like hierarchies, yeah, like dominance hierarchies and stuff. And yeah, they're like not even human anymore, basically. People who think like that are only thinking like, what can they get out of somebody? It's like they don't see people as people, they just see them as objects to be used. What can I get out of you? You know, like women who are dating guys not because they like them, but just for their money or something. It's like, it's not even a real relationship. It's just some weird transactional mess. I'm just enjoying watching the wolves eat everybody. But yeah, I mean, it's become so widespread now. It's crazy. It's like, it's hard to find real people anymore. It's like how would you say it? It's like the zombie apocalypse or something. It's like the amount of survivors is minuscule. The amount of like remaining mentally healthy, like sane, conscious people is it's like a very small percentage of the population. And it's like, if you're one of these, if you're one of these like cool, creative, sort of conscious people, it puts you in like a very, very small group of individuals. It's like Paul Stamets said, you know, it's like we're the 1%, you know, like the future of humanity basically depends on us. It's the other kind of 1%. It's not the 1% with all the wealth and power or whatever. Or isn't there some like biker gang called the 1%ers or something? I don't know, because they're like some hyper violent gang or something. I don't know. But it's like the 1% of conscious, switched on people who are still actually connected to reality and like sane. It's so funny though. It's like you're just trying to live your life and everybody's playing some sick game and they're trying to get you wrapped up in it as well. And it's like, it's scary, man. It's really weird. It's kind of crazy how prolific it is. Is that the word? How many people are playing this weird game? They're completely out of touch with reality. They're living in some sort of fantasy world. I forget who I was listening to recently though. Who was it? I don't know, but we've heard it time and time again. Like a lot of these extremely wealthy people are like incredibly miserable and dysfunctional, you know. And it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It's like if the only type of relationships you've ever known are transactional, like shallow fake relationships with shallow fake people, and the only thing that you've ever done is chase like wealth, power, and status, you know, and you've never actually tried to find your true purpose or your true calling. Like you're just living like this hollow existence which will just have zero fulfillment and probably negative fulfillment. It'll be absolutely soul destroying and miserable. And people get on the hedonic treadmill or whatever and try and they're like huffing the copium, trying to be happy. And nothing's ever enough. And it's just, they just need more and more and more. And they're still miserable. Yeah. Some people like never wake up from that. They like never figure it out. They miss the point the whole way along and then they just die. It's kind of crazy. Some people do wake up though. Quite rare, I think, but some people do realize like, wait a minute, this isn't working. Like, I probably need to like figure out how to actually live. Oh my god, the wolves are gonna, they're gonna like fight each other. Holy shit, the wolf wars. Oh my god. That was crazy. I don't know why the DS seem to like stop running away sometimes. And also we've seen that thing where like there'll be a deer right next to them but they ignore it. I don't know what's causing that either. It's like it mustn't be getting scanned correctly by the nearest prey tracker is like not scanning that one somehow. Something weird's going on. I've seen it happen like 2 or 3 times now. But yeah, the way that this is set up is like it's set up so that it definitely scans all of them. Definitely. No, I can't explain it. I'm guessing. Let's see. Yeah, but that's constantly updating, so. Right? It's constantly updating behind the scenes. And there's not that many prey animals for it to loop through. What the fuck? What is it called? Oh, I'm in the wrong... the wrong object. Really not that many of them, unless it didn't get added. That's impossible as well. It's impossible that it didn't get added to the map, right? Everything gets added to the map. Instance count, that should be, oh. That should be instance count prey, not instance count deer. That could explain it. That could explain something. What? Oh my god, I wondered why they weren't hunting rabbits as well. I fucked up. I fucked up, dude. Yeah, that's the danger with making changes to your code. This is a high likelihood you'll just break everything in the process. Which is exactly what I did. Cool. Alright. Nice. Nice. Okay, that's that sorted. Okay. Well, we're in... maybe there's still a certain degree of jank. I don't think there's any denying that, but we're in a hell of a lot of a better place than we were when I started out today. Pretty happy with that. Let me disable all this frickin' debug stuff. Finally. Hey Fish, how's it going? Thanks for the look. And what was the other thing? I gotta set the hunger back to 100 on spawn. Boom. Yep. Okay, I'll be right back. 2 seconds. Cool, cool, cool. What's the weather like tomorrow? It's still dry, it says, but it's cooling off, but it's gonna rain. Friday night, I think it's gonna rain like all weekend into next week, it looks like. There'll be a lot of game dev in the future here. A lot of game dev in my future. And some drums as well. Definitely looking forward to another drum sesh this weekend. It's been a while since I've released a build, to be honest with you. I think I'll go ahead and crank the version number and I'll put this one out for Ko-fi members. Hopefully there's... I guess I should give it a quick playtest before I do. Just take a quick look at it. Make sure there's no debug stuff left over or whatever. Don't think there is. Yeah, I wound up doing quite a lot more than I expected today. I just thought I was going to do those things that I forgot to do yesterday. But wound up fixing a bunch of bugs as well. I'll take it. Holy shit. Extreme fishing. Right next to a pack of wolves. Well, we knew this would happen, didn't we? Get out of there. Can you find like a better spot to fish, maybe? They're just gonna keep going there, I think, because it's technically the closest one. Yeah, that's a problem when that happens. I guess your solution would just be to not use fishers in this playthrough, or, well, not, like, maybe you can use them in the next map. But, we're generally speaking, like, if you're pretty far from the coast, pretty deep in the woods, you want to mainly stick to foragers and hunters. Even if there isn't a frickin' pack of wolves waiting for you. The travel time of just having to go back and forth to the coast is usually enough reason not to use fishers. Oops, okay, there we go, I left this on. Food 0. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the performance issues mainly are a result of me streaming and encoding with my CPU, but there's definitely more I can do. There's just a lot of, like I was saying before, there's a lot of times where I'm like looking something up on a list 1,000 times instead of just doing it once and storing the results. Oh, there'll be a lot of stuff like that, because a lot of this was written before I knew, best practices and temporary variables and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think it's about time I released a new build, so let's get this one out there. Yeah, so you can get early access to development builds by supporting me on Ko-fi, and I really appreciate it. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how much it helps keep me going, keep me alive. My main focus right now is just to survive to the end of development, which is going to take a miracle. But I've been surviving on miracles for years, so nothing new there. Living on press, llama to boot. 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 Taboo. Alright, that build is now available for Ko-fi members. And we're getting ever closer. So yeah, there might be more optimization. There's definitely more optimization. There's tons of, but it's really minor stuff generally now. There's like I say, I can look things up once and store the result instead of looking it up repeatedly. I can like do math once and store the result instead of doing the math repeatedly in a lot of places. There's a lot of that kind of thing. And they'll all be very minor sort of optimizations, but a lot of them. So maybe they'll add up to some small performance increase, but really I've done all of the major optimization, and try as I might, I don't seem to be able to increase the performance very much at all at this point. But thankfully, I think mainly the issue is, like I say, it's because I'm encoding on the CPU and it's just causing lags. For most people, they're not even going to be streaming when they're playing the game, so they won't have any issues. And for most people who do stream the game, they'll be encoding with their GPU, so they won't have any issues. So we're pretty good. We're doing okay, I think. I will probably still try some more optimization. But the other thing that I need to do is finish the rest of the sprites for the humans. So depending on how I'm feeling, the next few streams will either be more sprite work or more optimization. Those are kind of my choices at the minute. So yeah, but we'll see. And yeah, looking forward to a drum stream this weekend, just to break up the game dev. Always enjoy that. But that's about it for me for today. It doesn't look like we have enough viewers to raid anybody really, so I'm going to head out. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one.